Hello, welcome back, Steve's Retirement Corner. Do you stress test your retirement? I do, man. I'm in my 4th year and I still do it. It's something I've always done, in some kind of way, shape or form. I didn't even know it had a name, to be honest with you. I just thought it was something that's smart to do. You know, when I was working, I was the only one that brought in a paycheck. Baby was a housewife, and she didn't get paid for that. If she did, we would have been loaded, Doc. I ain't gonna lie to you. But so if I was without a job, man, I had to. We would have been in a lot of trouble, you know, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So I kind of had to game it out, man. You know, how much did we need to survive? You know, how could I get that money? Did I have enough to cover me in my savings account? Did I have to go get another part-time job? It's another reason I kind of worked, you know, a second or third job all the time, just in case. You know, it allowed me to be, for me to get laid off, and us not being such a panic, you know, because we kind of gamed it out. We kind of knew how things would happen. That's the same thing I do in retirement, man. Because things change, man. You know, and yeah, you have to. For me, man, it gives me a lot more confidence that we're going to be okay. It allows me, you know, to kind of pre-plan for something that might happen, like your Social Security. You know, if they cut that 30%, how's that going to affect us? Is it going to affect us now? Is it going to affect us later on? Is there something I can do today to fix that problem? You know, is it something I got to wait to happen and then be ready to make a move? You know, to me, it's they used to give a safety program at work every year about you know, questioning things. You know, if you see the way that we do it here, and you got a question as to why, you know, because just because we've been doing it for 30 years don't mean we're right. You might have a better way. You know, they tell you to, when you start a new job over there, to take things slow and, you know, kind of look for problem areas. You know, it's like they used to, every October, they used to give us a fire extinguisher training over there. They'd set up a fire in a big old pit out in the field, and you'd have to put it out with a fire extinguisher. And one of the first things they tell you is leave yourself an out. In case you can't do it, you need to get out. So you need to you need to have your back to an exit that you can get out of. It's kind of what I'm doing by stress testing my retirement. You know, it just gives me you know, it allows me to make a move during what could be a stressful time and not be stressful about it, and kind of have an idea what I'm doing. You make decisions under stress or duress. It's a lot of times it's not a good decision. You know, that's like last April. It allowed me to stay calm when the market dropped like it did, and take actions that ended up helping me in the end. So it's I think it's a good idea, man. There's a lot of positives to it, for me anyways, man. You know, and well, heck, you probably do something similar all the time. You know, mine was about work when I was working, because I needed income, man. I needed a job. I didn't want one, I needed one. So I had to figure out what to do if something happened to that one, whether it was my fault or somebody else's fault. It just made a stressful situation not bearable for me, you know what I mean? And but see, I don't know, a month or so ago, I guess I did a video about retiring on 500K. That's all that was, man. That was me going through the steps it would take for me to figure out whether I could do it or not. You know, sometimes I'll see somebody that's having a tough time, and I'll say, hey, man, if I was in that situation, you know, could I handle it? Or what would I have to change in order for it to work for me? You know, so I was kind of gaming it out in case, you know, it would come down to it. a lot of times, man, it's choices and decisions people make early on that compound and make it miserable later on. You know, it's a toss up between that and just bad luck, man. You know, because you can do everything right, have one day of bad luck, and you're back to square one, or you're on the other side of the daggone starting line. So it just, luck plays a lot into it, man. It does. People don't think it, but it does. But you know, I'm kind of looking ahead at pitfalls that might can possibly come up, and trying to get a workaround for it. You know, I don't do it all the time. It's just when I see somebody having a hard time, or when I'm doing exceptionally well. You know, because I haven't spent a whole lot of money since we were retired. So we still got quite a bit in the bank, or in the 401, IRA, whatever the heck it is, wherever we're pulling money from. And so, you know, our odds of pulling through, you know, a hiccup or two is even better now than the day I retired. Because I've cut my years of retirement down, but my money stayed the same or increased. So your odds of success, I believe, increase the older the longer you're in retirement. It has for me, anyways. But that's all that 500K video was about. It seems to be awful popular on here for people to retire at 500K. So I got to thinking, hey man, could I have done it? Yeah, I could. I probably wouldn't have had to change anything, but I wouldn't have been comfortable, so I wouldn't have done it, because I would have had no backup in case something would come up. But now you start dropping lower than that, and no, there's no way in the world I could have retired. Not the way I did at 57, you know, and not change anything in the way we live. You know, things would have had to change. I'd have had to work longer. We'd have had to cut something. You know, it just would have been a whole lot harder. It's not that I couldn't have, but things would have changed. It wouldn't be the retirement I got now. And I wanted to retire where I didn't have to change anything but what we did in our life. And in order to do that, I had to have a certain amount of money. You know, I'm not too concerned about going out and taking the baby out one night, about having to pay the electric bill the next day. We can handle that. Or if I'd have retired with less, you know, we probably could have handled it, but it would have been a lot tighter. You know, I don't talk about money here on much, but it's an extremely important thing, you know, as far as retirement. And man, you need money to get by. You just do. You know, when nobody is self-sufficient anymore. And there's not much bartering going on. And you don't have friends and neighbors that come by and help you plow your field and bring you over some milk when your cow goes dry. You know what I mean? It ain't like that in the country no more. It's too big of a place, and everybody's too fast, moving too fast, and in such a rush. They just ain't got time to slow down and help a neighbor from time to time. They just don't, man. So it's I don't know, man. But anyways, I gotta go see my advisor tomorrow for a 6-month checkup. So writing down some questions I gotta ask him, and I'm doing a little bit of I forget what you call it now. Troubleshooting? No, that ain't it. Stress testing. And you know, last year I did that. I increased our budget on the worksheets, not that we're going to use. I think I added 10 grand a year in for vacations, travel, knowing I ain't going to do that. But I was trying to break my plan so I could figure out what we'd have to do to fix it. And we budgeted 6 grand a year for the next 5 years. For the vacation budget was for 10, and for 6 grand a year for the next 5 years, so we can buy a car. Knowing I ain't gonna do that either. I'm gonna get a loan. Just kind of stressing my portfolio a little bit. And it didn't change it much. It dropped it about 5% on our odds. So, I don't know, man. I think it's important. It keeps you from making a mistake during, or having to make a decision during stressful times, which could possibly be a bad mistake. You're under a lot of pressure. You got to make a decision quick, and if you ain't thought about it beforehand, it can be bad for you. I think it's a good idea. But that's what I do. But hey man, did you see that community post I put out yesterday? My daughter was over here yesterday, and she was fooling with that AI. So she made an AI cartoon of all of us. So wife got a kick out of it, so I figured I'd throw it on there and make a post out of it. But anyways, man, y'all take care of yourself. You try to stay warm and try not to drown as all this snow starts melting, man. Because it's supposed to be 60 here tomorrow, man. I can't wait. But y'all take care, and we'll talk with y'all later.